Hello. Today we will be talking about option strategies. But before we do that, let's try and understand what are options. Rather than getting into the definition, let's take a simple example. Let's say this pencil. This pencil costs $10. One, I can pay the seller of the pencil $10 and make an outright purchase. But in options, what I do is to buy an option to buy this pencil, which means I pay an additional $1 to secure this right or option. So option contracts are nothing but derivative contracts which give the buyer an option or a right to either buy or sell an underlying asset. Let's understand this in detail. What we are saying is that options give the buyer an option or a right to either buy or sell a specified asset. For this, the buyer of the option pays an additional amount called as the premium. Please note, the premium is an additional amount over and above the price of the asset. It is not a part payment or an advance payment towards the price of the asset. The seller, on the other hand, has the obligation to buy or sell the asset. Now, when you are buying the option to buy the underlying, you would call that as a call. But when you are buying the option to sell the underlying, that would be a put. And since you are buying the option, you are going long on the option, hence you would call this as a long call or a long put. Now let's just get to as to what would be the motive behind somebody who wants to buy a call or a put. The buyer of the call expects the prices of the asset to rise, whereas the buyer of the put expects the prices to fall, which means that the seller of the call expects the prices to stay same or fall. Basically, he expects that the price would not rise. On the other hand, the seller of the put expects the prices to stay same or rise. Simply speaking, the person who is a short put expects the price not to fall. The question comes, if the buyer of the call expects the prices to rise and the buyer of the put expects the prices to fall, why can't we buy both and gain from the either ways movement of the asset prices? The asset prices can go either up or go down. So why not buy a long call as well as a long put? And that's what option strategies are. So option strategies are nothing but simultaneous buying and selling of options that differ in one or more option variables. Let's break this up. Option strategies are simultaneous buying or selling of one or more options, which means you either buy a call or sell a call, buy a put or sell a put. Also, they can differ in other option variables, which means you can buy or sell multiple strikes or multiple expiries. Let's take an example to build this further. In our previous slide, we talked about buying a call as well as buying a put. So what I have here are gold options. The price of gold is $1,200. Listed here are the various strikes available on calls as well as puts. In this particular strategy, we would be buying a long call and we would also buy a put, call it long put. What needs to be noted here is that the strike price should be the same. Also, the underlying should be same and the expiry should be the same one. This strategy is called as the long straddle. Now let's understand what would be the profit or loss in case of this particular strategy. What I have here is a payoff diagram of a long straddle. We have bought a call for $25 and we have also bought a put for $25. So the total cost for this strategy is $50. The price of gold is $1,200, and having paid $50, we will only stand to gain if the gold prices were to go beyond $1,250 or below $1,150. However, if the prices of gold stay at $1,200, we will lose the entire amount of $50, and that would be our maximum loss in this strategy. If the prices of gold exceed $1,250, we will stand to gain, and at the same time, if the prices of gold go below $1,150, we will stand to gain. So the profit potential is above $1,250 or below $1,150. However, if the prices stay between $1,150 and $1,250, we will stand to lose. This strategy is called as the long straddle. This strategy is adopted whenever we expect the asset prices to be highly volatile. Say for instance, in case of an event risk, you might just want to hedge it by buying a long straddle. Let's take another example of another strategy wherein we would now be going long on the call but going short on the put. This strategy is called as the long synthetic. What I have here is the underlying crude oil futures. The underlying price is $140. Now I know currently the price is roughly around $100, and in no way I am trying to predict the prices to be going to $140. This is just an hypothetical example. In this strategy, we are going long on the call, but we are going short on the put. Also, the point to be noted is that the strike remains the same, which is $140 in this case. We are paying a premium of $20 for the long call, but we would be receiving $20 having gone short on the put. Let's try and understand the payoff for this particular strategy. In this strategy, we have paid a premium of $20, but at the same time received a premium of $20. This means that we have no cost on this particular strategy. This means that we have no cost on this strategy. The break-even point hence would remain at the strike price, which in this case is $140. What I have built in here are various scenarios that if the prices were to rise or fall, what would be the net profit or loss for us. Say for instance, if the prices of crude were to rise to $160, in this case the long call will yield us no profit or loss, since we have paid $20 for the long call over and above the $140 strike. the short put will give us a profit of $20 because the buyer of the put will not exercise the put, hence we get to keep the $20 premium that we've received when we went for a short put. The short put will give us a profit of $20 because the buyer of the put will not exercise the option, hence we would get to keep the $20. This means that the net profit in this case would be $20. If the prices were to fall, let's say $120, we would lose the call premium that we have paid, and hence the long call will be a minus $20. The put will, however, yield no profit or loss, given that the break-even point of the put would be anyways $120. This means that if the crude prices were to fall to $120, we would be at a net loss of $20. This particular strategy mimics the payoff of a futures contract, hence this particular strategy is called as the synthetic futures. Having understood these two strategies, let's just summarize our learnings for the day. Options are derivative contracts that the buyer enters into to secure a right to either buy or sell an underlying. So options are derivative contracts where the buyer of the option has the right to either buy or sell an underlying. The buyer of the option is called as the option holder, whereas the seller of the option is called as the option writer. Option strategies are simultaneous buying or selling of one or more options that differ in one or more option variables. Thank you.